When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Amazon Pharmacy presents Painful Thoughts.
I read somewhere that the average American spends 13 hours a year waiting in pharmacies for prescriptions. Clearly, I am above average. I thought being above average would feel better. Maybe I'll read some greeting cards.
Next time, use Amazon Pharmacy. We deliver. And here's to being anything but average. Amazon Pharmacy. Healthcare just got less painful.
Who is it? It's me, Vern. I know you're in there listening to the GenXGrownUp podcast. Who? The GenXGrownUp podcast, man. If you're going to listen, you should support them on Patreon. Do what? GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon. Show some support, man. They ain't here. I know they're not there, but you're listening to them. Come on, let me in. I want to be a fourth listener, too.
GenXGrownUp is a YouTube channel, website, and audio podcast you're listening to right now. All made for and by people who love exploring media, games, tech, and toys of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up.
Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Welcome back, GenXGrownUp podcast listeners, to this episode 192, the GenXGrownUp podcast. I'm John. Joining me, as always, of course, is George. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You know that Mo is here. Hey, Mo.
Hey, how's it going?
It has been a little bit. We've had a few rewind episodes. We had the Southern Fried Gaming Expo, but we're finally back. We were just saying before the recording, I hope we remember how to do this and we don't disappoint. But at least we have some good topics lined up.
Yes.
This episode, we're going to watch two very different media offerings that both revolve around the Return of the Dead, test a budget-priced game controller with premium features that just might surprise you, and head back to the bunker to play Atari's new entry in the classic Missile Command franchise. We're going to have those topics and many more coming your way in this episode. We're glad you tuned in. Before we do that, though, as you may recall, it's time for some fourth listener email. Now, George, you remember, when was this? Been a month or so ago now. You and I were here and Mo wasn't. He was on some fancy vacation or something, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with that person who I'm not allowed to give my my description of.
With his lovely wife is what you meant to say.
Right.
Yes, he was on vacation.
That's exactly what I meant.
Right, exactly. While Mo was out, you and I did an episode where Mo wasn't here at all.
Mm-hmm.
And George was poking the bear at every opportunity, write in and let us know. Maybe you like it better without Mo. You're right. He was always.
Yeah. I felt the love, trust me.
Did you? Certainly. We got an email regarding that episode from Tony G. The subject line was, "Need Mo," is what he has to say.
Mic drop. Just end it right there. That's just...
Well, wait till you hear the rest, Mo. It's even more flowery. Here we go. Here's what Tony had to say.
Oh, okay.
Just wrapped up last week's episode, number 186, and in the immortal words of Mo, what the frick, man? Come on, dudes. We need this pod's Mrs. Garrett to keep this crew in check.
Mrs. Garrett from Facts of Life?
Exactly. Just take it, Mo. You can take all of it.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that.
Right now, it's like an episode of Magnum P.I. without Magnum. Just Higgins sighing at the empty driveway, and that's no fun for anybody. So I guess you were Higgins and I was the driveway, or neither of us were Magnum. I can't. Mo was Magnum. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just as long as I'm not his mustache, that's all I care about.
I just don't want to be his shorts. You could be his mustache. I don't know. As the band Player sang in the song Baby Come Back, Mo, won't you come back? Any kind of fool could see George was wrong, even though he tries to blame you. Mo, come back. Yeah, you can blame it all on George because he was wrong and we just can't live without you.
Apparently I can.
You can. Tony says, I think those are the lyrics anyway.
That's the way I remember.
Think they are, but that's what, Laura remembers.
That's awesome.
Well, we got our Mo back, so no worries. Tony wraps it up by saying, stay tubular, guys. Love the Try Guy Pod, Tony G.
The Try Guy Pod.
You feel better, Mo? You feel vindicated?
I do.
That's good. Thank you, Mrs. Garrett.
Now, John.
We love that you wrote in, Tony. We appreciate it. We love every time the fourth listener takes time to write in and tell us what they think of the show. If you would like your email featured on the show, it is drop dead easy. Just hit us up at podcast@GenXGrownUp.com. We read every single email, and most of them, like Tony's, will eventually make the show. All right. With that good business in the rearview mirror, it's time to jump into the body of episode 192 right after this very quick break.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
You're listening to Gen X Grown Up. But if you have a friend who's not yet listening, why not? Tell them about us. They'll thank you later.
Black & Decker's automatic shut-off iron. Because even those with the best memories can forget to turn their irons off.
Oh, thank you.
Black & Decker's Space Maker Coffee Maker mounts over your counter, so it not only makes great coffee, it leaves plenty of room for dessert. The Space Maker Coffee Maker and the automatic shut-off iron. Now from Black & Decker, ideas at work.
We're going to get things kicked off as we always do. Now, talking about media we have been checking out. Now, this could be a television or film or books or music or comics or whatever. And it's been a while since we sat down together to talk about that. From. I found trouble picking what to talk about, but so I'm going to throw you in front of the bus right now. Have you made a pick? What do you want to talk about in this episode?
Yeah, I started to pick something fairly recent because we could go back a little bit now since it's been a while. But I talked about the third season of Squid Games that dropped on Netflix last week. Binge watched them, just blew right through them. Because the season 2, I don't know if you guys saw the second season, but it kind of left a little bit.
I'm halfway through season 2.
It leaves you a little bit flat. It's like the second, it's like the Empire Strikes Back. You know, it's like you feel like it's the first part of another of a movie. You know what I mean? It's like you feel like it's just half a show, really.
Back to the Future 2 felt like that to me always.
Exactly,
felt like a 2-hour trailer for the third one. Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's what you throw. It set up a lot of stuff, but didn't really conclude a lot of stuff. And so the third one, they concluded, and they concluded. Let me tell you, it was a very satisfying season. I really enjoyed it. Because it's not made in America, it has a lot of sad parts that, I say stuff generally tries to keep a little bit lighter, a little bit more cheerful. This one, I mean, the whole premise of Squid Games is that, only one person survives, right? So that's kind of what happens here. But it was a good show. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. And it's definitely, if you enjoyed the first one, you would definitely enjoy this one.
So on the Squid Game topic, and this is not a badge of honor, like some people used to go, I've never watched a single frame of Game of Thrones or something. I've never watched any Squid Game. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I vaguely understand it's like a Running Man situation, kind of like destitute people trying to make money or whatever.
They find people who are down their luck, right? Okay. This group, and they bring them to this island, and basically they play Squid Games in which if you lose, you die.
Okay.
And it starts with like 150 people.
100 people.
I think it was more than that, because I think some people like 140. But
maybe
a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah.
And every game you lose like a certain number, and every person that dies increases the pot that the winner wins.
Okay. So the first season, people were talking about, and I was interested, but I never got back to it. So I guess my question for you is, so now that sounds like this season 3, it concludes the story.
Yes.
What would you tell someone like me who Is it worth it to start at the beginning and watch all of it? Can you skip the second season? There's a setup. Like how would you consume it now?
I would definitely watch from the first season.
Okay.
Because the whole that really sets up why season 2 and 3 happen.
Okay.
And the main character from the first season is the main character throughout all 3. So if you don't see that evolution of him through all this, then it won't make sense.
Okay. All right. I mean, one day. I mean, I hear it's good. I just haven't gotten to it.
It's very good. Yeah. It's a very good show. It's definitely worth your time. If you're, especially if you have nothing else to watch, which these days is hard because there's always something else to watch.
That's the problem, right?
But I thought it was a very, very good show. But enough on that. I want to find out about what George saw because I am really dying to see this. But now I don't know. I've saw some reviews. I'm a little questionable now.
Yeah, I would not in my life trying to see this film.
Really? That bad?
It's awful. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not looking at our Trello card, I'm talking about 28 years later. This movie has been hotly anticipated by me and a lot of other people for a very long time. When we got the first 28 28 days later, then 28 weeks later, initially, next logical progression, 28 months later. Nope. Danny Boyle said, fuck all that. I'm jumping 30 years into the future and going to do 28 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
You do learn a lot in the first few minutes or so of this film as to how we got to the place we got. They do show some clips from the first 2 movies to kind of bring you up to speed in case you haven't watched it. But truthfully, if you haven't watched the first 2, I don't know why you're going to see this film because it's definitely predicated on the first 2 movies in the franchise and all the storyline, the comic books and everything else. Anyway, the basic premise and synopsis is that in England, which is where all the 28 blank movies, where they take place, basically there's this one little small island, and it's one of these islands that's right near the mainland of England that when low tide happens, a path is revealed that you can walk to get to the main land. But when high tide is up, that path just disappears under the ocean and you can't really walk it.
That's pretty safe. That's safe.
We've seen that. This is a very famous location that they film a lot of dystopian and weird horror films in England. So I think it's the same island that was used for some other shows that I've watched in the past. But basically, we're led to believe that this movie is going to center around Aaron Taylor Johnson. This is the guy who started becoming famous with the movie Kick-Ass and then was on Bullet Train, Brad Pitt film.
Sure.
So, and he was, of course, Craven in the last Marvel debacle. Anyway, it's really not a story about him, although he is a central character. He's not the main character. It's more a story about his young son.
Okay.
Basically, the premise is that on this island, at a certain age of youth, they take the young people onto the mainland to teach them how to kill zombies.
Oh,
and then bring them back, and they have a big coming of age celebration, and so everybody's happy.
Learn to survive, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's their way of survival.
Okay.
They live in this little everybody do everything for everybody else community. It's very nice and peaceful and happy.
Sounds like the world's most dangerous bar mitzvah ever. What are you doing?
So throughout this first part of the story, they introduced new infected. I'm not going to call them zombies because they're not technically zombies in this storyline. But they introduced new types of infected. They do the whole thing. They come back. And that's where the film goes way the fuck off the rails. I mean, way off the rails.
How so?
There becomes a storyline that is centered around family dynamics. There becomes a storyline that also centers around coming of age, like what you might have imagined from what I described already, but more in becoming man of the house kind of situation, but not in the way that you think, because this is a horror film where somebody's going to die. It's not that. There's just some really weird divergence. It looks like Danny Boyle said, I'm just going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at this fucking wall and see what sticks. And even what falls on the floor, I'm going to put in the fucking film.
Oh, boy.
It's not good by any stretch of the imagination.
I get that.
I'm picking up on that. Yeah.
But to echo a point that you guys were making earlier about Squid Game season 2, kind of being a bridge to a further story.
Yeah.
This is as well. There is a part 2 movie that's already been announced, and it's got a release date, I think, for next year. It's got a name called Bone Collector, I think, or something along those lines.
Right.
And then if you dig deep in the internet, you can also find that there is a possible part 3
Oh, Jesus.
to this storyline that are all in the 28 years later area.
Interesting.
I'm not going to go into too many more details because I think people who love the franchise might want to see it, because the way they end it, which, by the way, is the most laughable ending of any film I have seen in the last 10 years. It is laughably awful. It does give the feeling of what they're going to broach as a subject for part 2.
Okay. So, so many questions, but when it comes down to it, so the first film I loved.
Yeah.
28 Days Later, it's way up there on my list of great movies. Second one,
okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
You know,
That was
it
the
wasn't-
weeks one, right? 28 weeks.
Yeah, 28 weeks. It was okay. It wasn't as amazing as the first one, but it was okay. So this one, though, I thought for sure that it was going to be a lot more, I don't know what the right word is. Like, since we know the enemy at this point, like we know that the bad guys are this thing, that it would be more of a personality, story-driven character kind of story is kind of what I was hoping for. You know, like somebody who's living in this world and trying to survive, but it doesn't sound like it's that at all. It sounds like it's just a weird, like too much is happening.
Yeah. So I think that might have been where they were trying to go. And don't get me wrong, I love Danny Boyle. He has done some tremendous films. I mean, the Train Spotting series, the 28 Days and Weeks. He's done a lot of different stuff that I've appreciated over the years. I just think he went too far into the future and had to build too much of the world in this film. And I think that hurt him. Okay. If you go 28 months, you can set up new stuff and have a very similar thing. But 28 years, I think, is a field too far in this universe.
Like, how'd they get there, right?
I don't think it did the storyline justice. Of course, you automatically know right away, 28 years, you're not going to see any familiar faces. Not that you expect to in one of these franchise films. But if there could have been a cameo, not going to happen. Although my son and I, who went to see it together, we did kind of wonder if there was a cameo, and you might be able to guess it if you look at some of the screen grabs and trailer shots on YouTube, the thumbnails. There's a possible cameo, but it is not talked about or alluded to. You just have to be a super fan of the series to guess what that might be.
Okay.
And that's
more like an Easter egg almost than a real,
Yeah, a very weird Easter egg. I will say one thing. If you're offended by male nudity, you're going to have a much more difficult time in this film.
I heard that. I heard there was. I'm not offended, but I was a little surprised by how much nudity was in the beginning of 28 Days Later. I think I mentioned to you, like, oh, that's a lot of Cillian Murphy for me. I didn't even see all that. But I heard there's like monster dong in this one, is my understanding.
Well, I'll say this: the person that is highlighted is certainly an alpha. I'll say that much.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
It's
gotcha.
it's out there, and not in the science fiction space kind of way.
And by it you mean it?
Yeah,
is out there. Gotcha.
And there's just some weird stuff around the infected, and I'm gonna give a little bit of a spoiler before we move on to John's, because I think John's is gonna be better, hopefully. There is a whole storyline around the infected's society.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
If you're listening, you can't see. Mo and I just did that. That jerk back in your head.
Yeah. Like I said, he threw everything at this fucking film.
Wow.
And
society.
So
I don't suggest, do not go see this in the theater. Wait till it comes on streaming.
Okay.
There's nothing in the theater that's going to make it stand out. It's not like a beautiful soundscape or anything like that. Okay. You can get just as much out of it watching it at home as you can in theater. If part 2 doesn't redeem it, I'm done with the 28 franchise. Yeah. And I hate to say that because I love.
And you've been a huge fan of them.
That
you're big. Yeah. You preach the praises. I know.
Yeah. Well, so hopefully we'll get some praises out of the topic that you want to cover next, John, because I know it's in the same genre
It is.
Of what we just got finished talking about.
That's right. Yeah. So it was odd. We both chose kind of I know they're not zombies, as you said, with 28 weeks, days, months, fortnights later.
Years.
They're infected, but it's a zombie show, effectively, in the genre of a zombie show. And so I picked up on, this is on Sci-Fi. And over the last couple of weeks, and it just popped up in my feed, God knows how, but there's a new series called Revival. So if you want to get Mo's attention, here we go. I'm going to get George and Mo's attention simultaneously. This is a TV series that's been compared to Fargo. Yeah.
Okay.
So now, I know George's not a huge Fargo fan. I just don't think you got into it necessarily. It's Fargo in that it's kind of set in a cold environment. The main cops are, cops with big woolen jackets on, and they're going around investigating things. And they're kind of quirky people, like in Fargo, the character-driven stuff. The premise of Revival I found really fascinating. To make it pretty simple, something happens, and we don't know yet, but an event happens in this small Midwestern town where everyone who has died in the last 2 weeks come back to life.
Yeah.
And they're fine, other than having been dead. Like, they're not zombies, they're not craving brains, they're not roaming the world, they're just alive again. Like, they come up out of the ground, they come up out of graves. You're in the coroner's office and they're banging on the doors to get out of the trays that slide in the walls. And it's just from the last 2 weeks. And like, there's a clear cutoff. They can find the date and go, well, it's everybody who died after this. And there's like this socio-political thriller going on around, well, are they people still? Are they second-class citizens? Signs are going up, no revived allowed, because we're not sure if they're hazardous. They quarantine the city because we're not sure if it's even safe to go outside of the city. There's tragic stories about this elderly woman whose husband died the day before the cutoff, and she's sure he's going to make it back. So much so that she goes and digs him up and brings him home to wait for him to come back, and he just isn't, because there's a clear cutoff. So you're following, when the series begins, this young woman and her young son, and the sheriff is her dad, and she's going to make a clean break and get out of town and start a new life and get out from under the thumb of her father, who's the sheriff again. And then all this happens, and she's quarantined and has to get right back into being a deputy sheriff and solving all these problems, dealing with family issues, and of course, the dead walking the earth again. And then shortly you get the second episode or so, and you find out, well, maybe not everybody is as okay as they were before they came back. Some of them, they have an index, like a national index, like, okay, well, if you have to register with the government to make sure we know who you are. And they're like, but we don't know if we got all of them in the index. There could be others out there who came back. Maybe they died and came back the same day before anybody found them or something. And they don't know they're dead even, Weird things happen because they're not going, they're not roaming with their dong hanging out like in George's movie. They're just regular people who happen to be dead. Oh, and by the way, whatever happened to them, like however they died or they injured or something like that. I think of ghosts, how the ghosts manifest the way they died, the arrow through his neck or whatever. Right. If they had an injury, the injury is there, but new injuries are healed like that. So they're superhuman in terms of staying alive, but it's an unfolding. And the other thing I like about this series is the structure, in that it's episodic. It's not a bunch to binge. It comes out once a week. You can think about it, talk about it with people. What do you think that means? Oh, there's a cliffhanger at the end of this episode. You get to wait a week to find out what the solution is. And as much as I feel bad for George that 28 years later was not good like you had hoped, I think this is a bright spot in the zombie world. It's something new and different that I haven't seen before. And it's it's not a comedy, but it's taken a little lighter, like that Fargo tone, Mo. The idea that people's lives are funny. We're not doing slapstick, but silly things happen that you have to deal with in this world. But the world is very serious in that way. So, yeah. It's called Revival. It's on Sci-Fi. I think there may be 3 or 4 episodes in now to what I can only guess what modern television's like 8 or 10 episodes is a season probably. So halfway through is my guess. If you were hoping for better zombie fare, I think maybe Revival will help you get out of that rut if you went and saw 28 years later. So definitely recommend that one. Give it a shot. All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Meet the most capable CR-V Honda has ever dreamed of. The all-new CR-V Trail Sport Hybrid. With all-terrain tires and available enhanced traction control, it's built for wherever the day takes you. Heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, ideal for winter drives and crisp early starts. And with generous cargo space, it's ready for big gear and even bigger getaways. The CR-V Trail Sport Hybrid. Learn more at honda.com/CRV.
Make your next vacation unforgettable on Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas. It's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Be sure to subscribe to or follow Gen X Grown Up wherever you listen. And while you're there, rate and review the show too. It helps more than you know.
It fits. No nonsense patios. The first patios with 16-point contouring shapes itself perfectly from your ankle all the way to your waist. It fits you like no other patios around.
And that's no nonsense.
New no-nonsense light support. It not only invigorates, but with tapered support styling, it's our most comfortable light support ever. No-nonsense light support, because you never get tired of feeling good.
And that's no nonsense.
Wow, it's been a while since we did Tech and Toys. So let's just kick off with you, John. Were you able to pick one thing out to talk about today?
Yeah, I was able to pick 4 things out, but it's not cheating like George does. It's a set of 4 things.
Okay, good.
It's so I don't know if we've even talked about it much here on the show. You guys know I am a huge fan of Mike Judge's series King of the Hill.
Oh yeah,
I've loved it forever. Sure. I watch it all the time. I quote it all the time. When people don't know I'm quoting it, you know. I rewatch it. However, it's one of those shows that never really got the same kind of marketing push and merchandising push that other series did. Yeah. And most notably, they never came out with any Funko Pop vinyls.
That's surprising.
For a huge, rich universe that King of the Hill has with all their guest stars and things they could do, it just never did it. But you may or may not know that we're just a few weeks away from a revival of King of the Hill. So there are new episodes coming. They've guaranteed us 2 10-episode seasons so far. We'll see what else. And it's a leap in time. We get to see what happened with these people 15, 20 years after we last saw them in the series. But now, with this new wave of interest in King of the Hill, they finally licensed themselves out. So I was finally, after that series started in 98.
Wow.
So it's been nearly 25 years. It has been 25 years since I have wanted collectibles for King of the Hill, but they finally came out with a collection of Funko Pop, these little mini vinyls. And I was able to, when they first announced them, and I'm going to give you a link to put in the show notes, Mo, but even those are coming out in September. When they first announced them, I went and found like a pop company that said, we'll be delivering them in July. And I'm like, oh, really? Tell me more. And they weren't overpriced or anything, but I bought the set. And it's just 4 pieces, but it's the 4 you think it is. It's the 4 guys who would stand at the fence.
Okay.
Right? It's Hank, it's Bill, it's Dale, it's Boomhauer. Those are the 4 guys. Now, are they going to do more? I don't know. But it brought me so much joy to finally be able to have in my pop vinyl collection. And I pumped the brakes on pop vinyls. I pretty much have the ones I need mostly.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I was like, well, I got to have that, you know? And so, those 4 are available. And they're standard pop vinyl new price. They're like $12.99, $11.99, something like that. They're, under $15 a piece. So, finally King of the Hill. And before too long, I'm sure I'll be talking about the revival when it comes out. I think it's a month or so away, but fun stuff.
Yeah. Are they doing anything else for King of the Hill? Do you know? Have you heard?
Like marketing and products and stuff. Nothing that I've heard at. And I keep my ear to the grindstone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can't keep your ear to the grindstone. That would hurt. I keep my ear to the ground, nose to the grindstone. Yes. I keep listening
to
hear what...
nose to the grindstone doesn't hurt at
all. No, that'd be fine. That doesn't make any sense, does it? I try to listen for what's coming out, and I haven't heard of anything else. But if there is, listener, if you've heard, tell me, because I'm a huge fan of that. And so pop vinyls were a big boon for me. So maybe that opened the floodgates like you were thinking, Mo. I would love for that to be true.
That'd be awesome.
All right. So Mo, how about you? In the interim, what have you been checking out in tech?
Yeah, probably one of the things I got that's been the most interesting to me is that I use an Xbox controller for my computer when I play on my PC, and it broke. They do, right? And so I was going to get another Xbox one, and my daughter's like, "Hey, here's this other thing on Amazon, $26." And she says it works amazing. So I went and looked for it. It's called Easy SMX. It's a PC controller. And let me tell you, this thing for $26 is pretty freaking amazing. One is You could connect it directly using USB-C.
Right.
It has a USB wireless controller that you can put in your computer, so you can use it wirelessly if you want.
Okay.
And it has a Bluetooth connection. It
This
has
seems redundant. I mean, it's good, but
no, you could use it like if you want to use it on your phone. If your phone could have a controller, you could use it on your phone with the Bluetooth connection.
A lot of times people are wanting to go to the 2.4 because there's less lag than there is with Bluetooth.
Oh, gotcha. I see.
And it has has all the buttons that an Xbox controller has. Plus, it has the ones like kind of like on the inner part, like with your middle fingers can push when you hold the controller on the inside, kind of. I forget what those are called, but it has extra buttons in there.
Little paddles that are under there that
they're underneath the controller, though.
Yeah, my Elite controller has those. So you can map into other things, huh?
Okay, so yeah, I don't have Elite. So yeah, so it has those as well. For some reason, you can exchange the face plates. You can make it gray or white. I don't know why it has that, but it does. And it works really well. Has a real nice, it feels solid, has a nice feel to it. I've been using it for a few weeks now and no issues at all. And especially considering how much it costs to buy a regular controller, I figured $26, even if it breaks, if it lasts me a year, I'll just buy another one.
Like a typical, like you, I typically use an Xbox One controller for my PC if I'm going to use, modern gaming. But I think, aren't those like minimum like $60-$70 now?
Yeah,
aren't they? Last time I priced for the nice Bluetooth one, right? So it's basically half that.
Oh yeah, for half that. And again, like I don't ever play games on my phone or anything like that need a controller, but it's nice to have the option, I guess, if I wanted to. And like I said, it works with Nintendo Switches. It just seems like they covered all of them. And it's not even like it actually has like a physical switch on the controller, so you have to tell it which mode to be in. So it's like it's not even like software. You switch it to use wireless, switch it to use USB-C. And again, I mean, I really having trouble finding fault in something that's only $27. I think it's on sale. Normally it's like $50, but it's been on sale for a long time now.
Okay.
So I think it's one of these might be permanently on sale for a while because I bought it like a few weeks ago and it's still the same price. So you need a new controller. It's definitely worth the chance to get one of these things.
Check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
And a link in the show notes, of course, right?
Absolutely. So George, what do you got to round us out?
Well, so while we were away and you guys were getting to listen to the Rewind episodes, we went to a little thing that we like to do called SFGE. And one of the standout features of SFGE is the board gaming area. It's this huge area with probably like, I don't even know how many, but like 5 or 6 rows of these long tables, kind of like set up like in a Viking longhouse setup, where people can just sit down with their friends or even strangers and play board games that you can check out from this little library section area for free and discover new games that you might like or not like. Well, every year when I go there, I have been taking my wife and my kid the last few years, and we always like to try and find a new game for our house just in case. And we have found some outstanding games over the time that we've been going. But this last one, I think we found a game that almost everybody could enjoy. It's a quick, like 10 to 15 minute game once you get a little bit used to it. And it can play anywhere from 3 to 5 players. It's called Rocket Squad.
Okay.
So basically the game takes you back to when you were a little kid, like under 10 years old, probably. And you're in your backyard and your objective is to build a cardboard box rocket that you can then launch to the moon with your child's imagination. It's a very simple mechanic. It's a card game. You get 4 colored launch pads, they call them. And the graphics on there is literally like your grass with a fence around it. And there's some little signs that say red, green, yellow, and blue. And on those little launch pads, you start with what's called a booster card. Now, these booster cards are literally like things from our childhood that Gen Xers would have scavenged around the neighborhood to make these rockets up. So like there's a blue milk crate as an example.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
And you've got your little cardboard fins on it. And on the fins, it has a number. And the numbers range from 3 to 9. And that number is significant because that's how many cardboard boxes you have to stack on top of your booster to launch your rocket.
Oh, cute.
Super cute. So if you get a 9, that's 9 cardboard boxes. You get 4 cards in your hand. You play as many or as few cards as you want in your turn. You redraw back to 4, and then it's the next person's turn. If that was the only dynamic of the game, I'd still be happy.
It's already pretty cute. Yeah, it's cool.
It's already pretty cute. All cards in the game have the face of like boosters or these other things I'm about to describe, but the backs of them are the cardboard boxes. So you can play a card in anywhere from 1 to 3 different ways. So on the back of the card, it's the cardboard box that you need to build your rocket. So if you play it that way, whatever's on the face of the card, you can't do. You've played it as a box.
Just a box. Okay.
Right. But on the face of the cards, they have several different card types. They have the boosters that I mentioned, but then they also have action cards. Orange ones hurt other people. Gray ones help yourself. But they're also divided on the face into 2 different types of actions that the card can be used for. For instance, there's a card that says Dad on the top and Mom on the bottom. The Dad is an orange card that you can use to steal a box from another player and put on your rocket. The Mom is a blocking card that protects you from orange cards that says, you kids play nice now. It just goes on and on like that. John, you'll appreciate this one card. There's a card called Alley, which is literally an alley cat that sits on your rocket and you can't build until you get rid of the alley cat. In the way. It's just sitting on your box.
You can't disturb a cat. You got to let them stay with their rat. I know, that's true.
It is a super fun game. On Amazon, it's a little pricey because the person who's selling it is charging for shipping no matter whether you have Prime or not. And the shipping is almost equal to or more than the cost of the game.
Oh, wow.
I found it on eBay where with the price and the shipping both came out to $10 for me. So I snapped it up. But you can probably get this game home for under $20. It's got tons of replayability. It's fun, but it's not mean, which I really appreciate because it's like your kids. And so even though you might be attacking other players, it doesn't feel mean-spirited because the cards aren't written that way.
So did you found this at SFGE, I guess, but
yes.
There wasn't one for like that was in the checkout games. Like you couldn't buy it there. So then you promptly went and had to try to buy it. Yeah,
exactly.
That happens
and
to me
it wasn't
at
even on the, it wasn't even in their play and win section, which at SFGE you can play a game and you get entered into a raffle to win it for free. It wasn't even that. It was just literally one of the card games in their library.
Yeah, that happens to me at SFGE occasionally. I'll check out a game and I go like, well, damn it, let me go to Amazon because I might need this now because it's pretty cool. Yeah, it happened to me again this year. Cool. And what's it called? Yeah. Rocket Squad. Okay.
Rocket Squad. Yeah.
That's neat. I like it.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Each episode of Gen X Grown Up has show notes loaded with links where you can learn more about our topics. And there's even more to see and hear over at GenXGrownUp.com.
Things sweetened with 100% NutraSweet display the 100% NutraSweet symbol. A little red swirl next to the words NutraSweet brand sweetener. The 100% symbol means low calorie without saccharin and great taste without any sugar added. 100% NutraSweet. Why some things taste better than others.
This is the main event of the podcast. For the 3 in attendance locally and the millions listening around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time!
Well, we ended that last segment talking about something we found at SFGE that I got to bring home. But this segment is all about stuff that we could have actually done at SFGE probably,
Right.
or in some way, shape, or form. Although we're not necessarily talking about things we did do at SFGE, but this is the game segment where we like to talk about games we've been playing over the last, I guess, 6 weeks at this point, since we have such a long time frame. Mo, why don't you kick us off? What have you been playing since the last podcast?
Yeah, this is SFGE related as well.
There you go.
Yep. So I saw this game, the Meeples section in the back, that back room, they have SFGs. It's a store, people they set up and they sell games. And their games are usually very high quality, well-built games. And I saw one there that I just saw the box and looking at the play field in the back of the box. I'm like, oh my God, this game looks awesome. But it was pricey. It was like 40 something bucks. So I was like, let me find a sample. They have an open one somewhere because I want to play this one first. Couldn't find one. A couple of days later, my daughter said, oh, they did have an open one back there. So we went there, played it. I bought the game. It was called Tokyo Highway.
So this is a board game we're talking about in my video game, electronic game segment.
No, this is a game. I'm talking in the game segment.
Oh, no. This is my segment.
Yes. You actually said mine is Tech and Toys.
Mo could have called shenanigans. You just did a board game in the Tech and Toys. So
that's right.
Yeah, but he didn't. That's on him.
No. This is games. This is games belong in games. But anyway, so how it is that basically the one cool thing is that there's no board that you're playing on. You just play on your table and you're trying to build roads, basically. And your roads, you have these pillars that you can stack to raise and lower your roads as you add segments. You get points for doing different things. Like if your road goes over or under another person's road, you get a point. If your road circles one of these buildings that you can place, you get a point. And there's a whole bunch of little other small rules like that for how do you get points in this game. But when you play, what you wind up with at the end is just this snarl of roads just going everywhere. And it's at the end, like when we finished the game, we just sat back and just looked at what we built at the end.
That's impressive.
Yeah, we're like, holy crap, look at that. And they have these different like play fields that, because you set up like everyone's starting point is, equidistant from each other is how you do it. And then you each take turns placing certain things in the play area wherever you want to. So some are buildings, some are like a park and things like that. So you get a point if your ramp takes you down to a park. You get a point for that. They have special blocks that allow you to fork your road. Only certain blocks allow you to do this. Normally you can't. You only build one road at a time, but this one allows you to fork. So you can take one road and split it to two, which is actually, you need that very much. But it's also one of these games that if you run out of pieces, you can't move. So you have to be very judicious about when you use them, how often you use them, that kind of thing.
So I have a couple of questions So number one, I've never been a huge fan of board games that don't have a board, unless they're a card game. That's a different story. But I've always felt like board games should have a board because it helps me visualize what I'm supposed to be doing a little bit better. It sounds like in this case, though, I can understand why they didn't do it. But is this essentially just making urban planning entertaining?
Yeah, but you would not want these roads. Trust me, at the end of the thing, no one would be on these roads. There's just no way that it would work. But it just makes it that at the end, you just wind up with just a very cool, even if you lose, you're like, okay, I lost, but still, wow, look at that. I went under this road and over yours over here. Because if you cross two roads, you get 2 points, that kind of thing.
Something you said in your description of the game reminded me a little bit of Ticket to Ride, where you have these routes and people can block your routes. So I'm guessing there's a real estate issue too, like where if you go somewhere, somebody else can't put their road exactly where yours is. So that kind of
you have the altitude. There's certain rules, like your road can't touch another road.
Okay.
You can't physically touch another road. So if they're at, like, say they built up to the second level of pylons, your road has to go higher than that to go over it, or it has to go lower to go under it. So
so there's Z-axis consideration.
Yes.
So there's more than just 2D overlap.
Yes, you have to definitely look at the up and down.
Oh, so it's downtown Atlanta with all the looping tiered clover leaves. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what you wind up with at the end. And again, it was just so fun, and we played it, and as soon as we played it, I'm like, I need to get this game. And my daughter's like, I already bought a copy actually.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, sounds cool.
When you just play your table and you have fun, and there is a lot of strategy. Like, so you only played it a couple times, but you really start to pick up, okay, I have to be really careful about when I split my roads because I only get 2 of those. So I got to use those at the right time. I can't go too high because in order to build a road to go to that, I have to build just as high, because there's a rule that you can only go up or down one level for your roads, and things like that. So a lot of strategy, a lot of fun. So definitely worth taking a look at. Amazon actually doesn't sell it, if you can believe it.
Oh.
But I did find it on this other store, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Okay, cool. Tokyo Highway.
I
want to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how about you, George? What do you got for your game section?
Well, so I have a proper electronic game, although it's modeled after a physical game. So this is in my virtual pinball world. I've been corresponding lately with a representative from a company who has taken the mantle and license from an old pinball company out of Italy from the mid 70s to the mid 80s called Zaccaria Pinball. And that's the name of this new venture. And they've been around for a few years. It's not brand new or anything, but they are highlighting the original pinball machines that company made in a virtual platform, just like Pinball FX from Zen Studios or Pinball M or any of those kinds of things that you might play virtual pinball with. These pinball machines, because they're stuck in that time period, though, they're very unique in the way that they are presented and played because they're the original games that this Italian company, and it was a company of three brothers that literally the brothers themselves designed and built these machines and sold them all over Europe. They're very fun. The representatives were kind enough to give me basically keys to every single table that they have in the platform. The platform is just like Pinball FX. You get the platform for free plus a table, and then you can pay for other tables as you want to add them to your library. It is a little bit cheaper than Zen Studios, which is nice. On average, a Zen Studios table is probably around $5 or more. On average with Zaccaria Pinball, they're around $3. So very affordable. They have plenty of packages as well. You can play this through Steam or a couple of other platforms. Very fun. The tables are unique. They have a few modern interpretations of their original tables as well in the platform. And I'm just having a very, very fun time going through the entire library. I'm going to try and do some videos on it for our channel so that we can not only tell the story of this kind of unheralded pinball manufacturer, but also show what this new company is doing with the IP and the licensing.
It's really interesting. And one thing that always impressed me about Zen was it seems like they got the license to everything. Somehow they got all that. So I'm curious whether or not, like, did Zen suck all the air out of the room and there's no room? Are there any like games or licenses or platforms or tables we might recognize? Or are these just all like original tables that are themed, or what are they like? Can you describe any of the tables or your favorite?
Yeah, so they're definitely original designs. I don't see any IPs that you would expect in a Zen Studios. Like, you're not going to find Godzilla. You're not going to find any of the Williams
Star Wars
stuff. You're not going to find, no Stern tables are going to be in this platform. But they do have some very fun machines. And like one of the mechanics, I'm just going to talk about a mechanic that I really like that these brothers apparently were very fond of. So if you ever played any of the old pinballs, and I'm talking about from the 50s up, right? On some of the tables, they would have this little divot in the play field that you would try to land your ball in for some
hard.
extra points, and then it would kick the ball out of that little divot onto the play field again, right? They have that on almost every one of their original designs. Sometimes there's two of them, sometimes there's one, sometimes there's four, and they all do different things and progress whatever storyline that the IP is providing. But they're all very generic ideas. So there's like a poker one and a motorcycle one. There was one that was called Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I was just reading it when the guy was giving me the keys, and I'm like, the band? And he's like, what band? So you immediately know these people were not in the American scene at all. But
what band?
They're just so fun, and they're simple. The mechanics are easy to understand. Some people get very frustrated with modern pinball machines. If you look at a modern Stern machine, there's just so much shit on that playfield sometimes, so many things to do, and you can get frustrated very quickly. An example, at SFGE, I played what is arguably now my favorite physical pinball machine ever, and that was the Evil Dead machine. I played it for probably 2 hours, having to wait in line all the time. But
and
there is a ton.
Awesome.
There is a ton in that machine covering the movies and TV shows and everything that franchise holds. These Zaccaria tables, they're just simple. It's just, okay, you're a motorcycle driver, go jump the ramp. Okay, you're a poker room player. Go knock down the little targets that build your poker hand. It's simple. It's fun.
That sounds fun.
You can jump into the system, play it for 10 minutes and jump out. I can't wait to do some videos on it. So Zakaria Pinball, it's available over on Steam for free. And then you get one table included with that. I suggest going to check it out. But
very cool. Nice. Yeah.
As much as I love that, I got a feeling that what's on John's list is something that a larger part of the world has been looking forward to and anticipating for quite a while.
It's always a little touchy, isn't it? Whenever anybody, Atari in this case, takes one of their existing legacy, revered, almost like holy franchises and does something new with it, everybody's kind of like, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? You know, they've done a lot of recharge stuff we've talked about and beyond titles, but this is a game, by the time you're listening to this episode, it's now out and available to buy and play. Missile Command Delta is the name of this game.
Okay.
So we had an opportunity to look at it early. We did a sneak peek live stream the week before it came out where we could play just the first level, the first area of the game. And look, I probably don't describe Missile Command to anyone, but just in case, Missile Command is all about the Cold War. It was incoming missiles coming to destroy your cities, and you had these little turrets that you could shoot weapons from to intercept the incoming missiles to blow them up before they got to your cities. So that's the idea of Missile Command, which is fine. Now, if you remember the arcade machine, you had 3 little turrets you could shoot from.
Right.
Alpha, Delta, and Gamma. So my expectation, though they don't verified this in the game I've played so far yet, is that this is all happening inside of a bunker, and I'm guessing you're inside of that center bunker, Delta, Missile Command Delta. So in the game, you play a kid with 3 friends who decides it's toward the end of high school, you're going to go camp out in this abandoned missile silo because nobody's there anymore, and it's a great place to hang out. And they think it's a good idea, I guess. And so part of the game, I would say the game is broken into 3 pieces. There's the story evolution where you get to know the people and they have talking and dialogue trees and you respond to them. You get to know your friends. And then there's this escape room mechanic that I really enjoy where you're exploring the compound, this bunker that you're under. By the way, you're locked in. No surprise there. You're locked in. You're roaming around. You get a key to unlock a room and there's like a projector. You have to figure out how to aim the projector to point at something on a wall to tell me what code to type in somewhere. It's an escape room. And then the way you progress in the game, though, is the primary Missile Command part of it, which has reimagined Missile Command as a turn-based card game.
Okay.
Now, until you see it, that might turn you off. But for me, once I played it, the cards are just incidental. So effectively, they give you this grid, like this hex map. It's like playing D&D. It looks like terrain, right? You can see the missiles are coming in.
Okay.
And you have a set of missiles that go a certain distance or do a certain amount of damage or travel over time or whatever. And you have a limited number of missiles you can fire in a certain number of turns. You just have to keep all these missiles from hitting your city before you intercept them.
Right.
And you start to get missiles that are 2-stage missiles, meaning they'll go halfway distance on the first turn and halfway the next. So you've got to plan ahead. You have missiles that explode really, really big. And so their explosion might linger extra turns. As you explore the world, you find more of these little punch cards that have the different kinds of missiles on them. So you can start using them in more of the mini games. And each of those mini games, like for example, there's a room with 3 of those terminals to play this Missile Command game. Each one you solve, another green light comes on. And so all 3 green lights come on, you're into the next room. It's more exploration, reading notes and finding stuff, exploring. So the Missile Command part of it is a third of the game. It's the most important part, but it's a third. It's this turn-based strategy thing, and you can play as many times as you want. The twist in the game is that after the first hour or so, there's a rumbling going on, and maybe or maybe not, an actual war has started outside the bunker. That's why it locked.
Oh.
And there's a guy in the bunker who was in there already. We didn't know about it. He was locked in some storage room, but he's been there forever. He trains missile commanders, and he is asserting there is a real war going on. And so no longer is it just having fun with your friends. You're actually going to be the person, maybe or maybe not, defending the real world from real missiles. It hasn't been made clear yet. That's going to be part of the story projection, I guess. So we have a story. We have the Missile Command game, and then we have this escape room stuff. It's all in there.
It definitely seems a pretty big departure from Missile Command. I mean, it's like a totally different thing altogether, which I'm fine with. If this had nothing to do with Missile Command, like say it was just its own game, would you still have fun with it?
Yes. Absolutely. So you're right. Big departure, but it's also very clearly Missile Command. When I see a screen, there are cities, there are turrets, there are incoming missiles, or I'm shooting warheads. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Missile Command.
Okay.
It's not a stretch. This is very clearly in the universe of Missile Command. And I'm guessing this is many years after the Cold War because it's happening modern times. That's 2024, 25, whatever. So these bunkers have been abandoned since, the 80s when Missile Command first came out or the Cold War when it ended. But yes, it isn't the fact that this is connected to a brand I enjoy that I'm liking it for. That's what got me in the door. And then I found out it's a game. It's not a retread of Missile Command. It's saying, hey, you know that idea of intercepting missiles? We have a new game to play where you can try to do it a different way. It's a little more board gamey, a little more contemplative, less action.
Okay, very cool. Let's check that out.
Yeah, it's so by the time you hear this, a couple of live streams available for you to go check out and see if it's right for you. If you enjoy Missile Command, I understand this won't be for everyone, but if you're open to a different kind of Missile Command, I think you're going to enjoy it. Maybe not as much as I did, but you're bound to enjoy it. So please do check it out.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a die-hard Gen X grown-up, you can pledge your support by clicking join on YouTube or by becoming a patron at GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon.
These mothers said they wouldn't switch diapers.
I'm happy with my brand. I will not switch.
Then they tried totally new super absorbency Pampers.
Now I'm going to switch over to Pampers.
They all did, because new Pampers keeps babies drier from top to bottom.
He stayed dry all night.
This new blue waist shield stops leaks up top like no regular waist diaper can.
The blue shield helps keep wetness from the baby. Yay for Pampers!
So switch to totally new Pampers. It keeps babies drier from top to bottom.
Now, before we wrap up the show, we always like to take just a couple minutes here at the end to talk about the things we're either looking at now or looking forward to between now and the next time we get together. And there's so much. There's stuff that I missed that I learned when I saw you guys' lists.
Yeah.
Let me start with you, Mo. What do you have on the horizon you're looking forward to?
Geez, they said there's so much happening right now.
Yeah.
One is actually, it just started yesterday when we recorded this, is the second season of Sandman, which on HBO. First season was amazing. Unfortunately, the stupid writer was an idiot and got majorly canceled for good reason, I think. And this is going to be the last season. But still, I'm going to try to separate the art from the artist and just enjoy it. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Right. Yep.
There's another thing called The Institute. Have you guys heard of this one?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's definitely one that I'm looking forward to. It's like a TV series where basically it's like these special kids are put together in a community, I guess. That's what it seems like anyway. I don't know. I just always like this kind of style of show, where you kind of say, okay, here's a bunch of kids who are special. We're going to throw them together. And they all have like I would say beyond normal people abilities. Like they're all like on the border of superheroes.
It's like they're abducted because they're gifted or special and put in this program against their will.
Involuntarily, right. And the executive producer, Stephen King. So who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Yeah. We'll see. Right. But I'm really most looking forward to, with some trepidation, but I know I'm going to go see it, is the new Superman movie that's coming out July 11th. Because if nothing else, to see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, is going to be awesome. Because his character, I can see him playing that perfectly. Like that was probably one of the best castings I've heard. Plus Crypto is in it. I mean, come on. They have Crypto, and I'll see it just for that, be quite honest. But it also, from looking at the trailers, it looks like it's a little bit like they got rid of the whole origin story, which is good because we all know his freaking origin story. And it seems like it's a little bit, it kind of digs into a little bit like, if this was real, what would happen? Because it's like, what gives you the right to stop a war? What gives you a right to do this? If you have an ability to stop something, does that mean you have to do it? Or is it, it gets into all those kind of issues, I think is going to be pretty interesting. So again, that's coming out July 11th.
Looks good.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. How about you, George?
Well, I'm also looking forward to Superman, if for no other reason, the fact that James Gunn is helming the DC universe now, and this is his first offering, I think, in that, or maybe it's not his first offering, but it's certainly one that he's got his hands all over. It definitely has the comedic superhero vibes of a Guardians of the Galaxy when you look at the trailer. And I did see a recent interview with him where he said that Nathan Fillion casting as Green Lantern was not his first choice. He actually reached out to Ryan Reynolds and asked him if he would play him again. And Ryan Reynolds texted back, said, "Fuck off." So
hard no.
Well, he didn't play Guard Gardner, just another Lantern.
He played the original.
He played Hal Jordan.
Yeah, the original.
Hal Jordan. That's right. Okay. Yeah. See, I know little comic book stuff. Look at me.
A little bit, yeah. But definitely looking forward to that on July 11th. Another thing I'm looking forward to this on TV is there is a new documentary coming out about the Live Aid concerts called When Rock and Roll Took on the World. This is a CNN offering, so I'm hoping there'll be some heavy journalism and research involved in this documentary. I don't know how many episodes it'll be, but it's CNN on July the 13th.
Okay.
So it looks to be very fun in just a couple of days. And then the thing I'm looking forward to the most that comes out a few days after that, Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 over on Paramount Plus, July 17th.
Been way
as
too
we were
long.
talking about when we were starting to record this episode, they've got several seasons already greenlit and everything. This is season 3. I can't wait to see how they go forward from the last. It's been a long time.
Yes,
that thing was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
when we got the last
2 years
season
ago.
Two. Right.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be fun to see where that goes and how they pick up from there. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
John, how about you?
Well, of course, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I forgot to put that on my list.
Yeah, me too.
Because I realized it was coming up so fast. I thought it was still months away. I'm so excited. But yeah, I do have a few more things. And I'm guessing this is still going to happen. But at the moment, July 9th is supposed to be the new season 27 premiere of South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Although there has been some legal wrangling around the new release and some acquisition and streaming rules and stuff. And I know Trey and Matt have been putting up a stink and there's been some problems. I just want to see South Park. I hope it comes. It's got to come out. Will it come out on July 9th, Comedy Central? I hope so. It's supposed to at the moment. We'll see how it goes. But always love me some South Park. Not being a huge comic book guy, I am interested in the new Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, that's July 25th, which is, I think, right when the next episode is going to come out. So it's down the road a couple of weeks yet. But it's a different look. It's a different kind of look. And I just saw the Thunderbolts finally because it's streaming and saw that that's basically the after credit scene. Sorry, spoiler people. Spoiler people have already seen it by now, I'm sure. But that's like the after credits thing. I'm like, ooh, that's involved in this. Okay, that's all connected somehow. The thing I'm most looking forward to is probably Star Trek. But other than that, is the premiere of Dexter Resurrection. Now, that's July 11th on Paramount Plus. Yeah. Now, this is all taking place current day, not in Miami, in New York City. And apparently there's this guy who's an aficionado of serial killers and brings them all together to his lair. And I don't know if it's like a Hunger Games for them or something. I don't know. But it's a different kind of story for Dexter where he's leaning into his, instead of hiding it, people know who he is. What's funny about the Hunger Games for serial killers? Is that funny?
I would love to watch that, whether it's a comedy or a serious piece. I would enjoy watching.
Right.
Like, can you imagine, like, you've got all these different John Wayne Gacy, he starts eating Dexter maybe or some shit.
Yeah, that's what it
be
sounds
funny
like.
as hell to me.
That's what it seems like. Maybe not as funny, right? But I mean, it's anyway, and it's a murderer's row of great
the guy
talent.
from American Psycho is playing Huey Lewis in the background.
Yes, that's July 11th, Paramount Plus. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right. Now, before we get out of this episode, we're going to talk about new patrons, but Mo, periodically we'll have a patron who sends us a question that we'll answer here on the show. Do you have one for this episode?
Yeah, actually, the patron in this case is actually me. So I'm asking a question.
Okay.
So, because I'm a patron, actually. But actually, I just want to ask you guys, what was your favorite part of this year's SFGE? I we haven't really had much chance to talk to you guys afterwards. So,
yeah,
John, why don't we start with you? What was your favorite part?
I always enjoy SFGE, all facets of it. It's far too short. That show could run about 5 days for me, and I would fill it with stuff to do. Because some days I want to spend a couple, 3 hours playing board games. You're like, well, that's half my day gone. Dang it. Like you want to do more. You want to do more. But I understand. You remember last year I didn't get to do much because I had been in the hospital a few weeks earlier, actually a week before. But this year, man, I drank in weekend SFGE, and I loved it. I enjoyed our panels tremendously. I loved that all of our stuff was on Saturday that freed up Friday and Sunday to be more relaxed. But without a doubt, the thing I absolutely enjoyed the most was that Saturday evening meet and greet where we got to sit down with the people that are the most supportive of us and interested in our story, and such kind people. Mm-hmm. Just get to meet the people behind the comments and behind the thumbs up and likes that we see so often. There's very little more gratifying to me as somebody who creates content, and I expect for you guys too in some way or fashion, is to talk to the people who consume it and enjoy it and appreciate it. And I'm still riding off of that high. It just felt so good to be able to spend some time with those folks. So that was it for me.
That's great. How about you, George?
Of specifically SFGE, like if you talk about activities that I couldn't have done without SFGE, it's probably got to be the Evil Dead pinball machine. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I've been looking forward to getting my hands on that machine.
You've been talking about that for a while.
You said we might not see you the rest of the show. You might just be camping there.
I kind of was on the days that we weren't actively doing stuff for GenXGrownUp. The lines were 6 people deep. And depending upon how quickly your game went, that might mean you get to play for 5 minutes and wait for 30.
Right.
But on Sunday specifically, I think I got real, actual hands-on gameplay, not waiting in line, but like 2 hours worth with that machine.
Nice.
So much so that I went to the gentleman who had brought the machines there to find out if there was still any chance in hell I could buy one, which I can't because they only made 888 of the damn things.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were all pre-sold essentially,
of course,
from the company that made them. But yeah, I really like that part. But I think the thing I enjoyed the most that's not specific to SFGE was just seeing my wife get to go and attend in a more normal fashion than she has been since her stroke. She was able to walk around comfortably and easily with her rollator. She can also walk without the rollator for short distances and everything. She had a great time. Like I mentioned in the toys and tech segment earlier about playing board games with her and my son. She also really enjoyed the pinball machines, which was a blast for me and my son. He loves pinball now because he works at an arcade place that's dedicated to pinball. And just getting to spend that time with her and him, and it wasn't nearly as stressful as it was the year before because we've now settled into a more comfortable groove with our family life, and getting to do that at SFGE. She got to meet all the Gen X people in the evenings playing Dalmoody and whatnot.
Right.
That part, just getting to enjoy it with her and my son, that's what was my most favorite thing at SFGE.
That's awesome. And for those listening, in case you don't get the hint here, go to SFGE next year. I mean, absolutely go to it. My favorite part, actually, it kind of gloms on what you guys are saying, which was just hanging out with you guys and hanging out with the people who watch our show and hanging out with my daughter, just to not worry about work and anything else, and just have that time dedicated where I could just focus on the people I'm with and just enjoy the time.
That reminds me, I got to turn my work app alerts back on. I haven't done that yet.
Since SFGE.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing important.
Just forget for a few more weeks. Keep forgetting.
Yeah, right.
And with John, what he said earlier about, this can go on for more days. It's not that they need more content. It's just to spend more time with the people.
That's right.
You know, I would spend more days.
They have all the stuff they need. Right. Just give me more time to play with it. Yep. Agreed.
So it was a great this year. And also I think I finally figured out SFGE in terms of getting the right hotel room, making sure we have certain food stocked in the room, making sure we, just getting all that kind of logistics stuff kind of nailed down so that you could just really just enjoy the show. So it was a great time this year.
Yeah. Well, hey, fine question, Mo. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
We appreciate your patronage.
And for those of you out there, if you want to get your question answered on the show, it's super easy. Just go to GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon. As little as $1 a month. Throw a question my way, and we'd be happy to answer it here right on the show.
And speaking of people who did exactly what you said, followed your advice, I want to thank another new patron who joined us since we last spoke. Joey L. joined us over on Patreon. And I just want to call out that Joey didn't go in. You can get in for $1, $3 or whatever. He joined us at that $10 level, which makes a huge impact on our bottom line. I mean, to give you an example, the thing we're recording this on costs $20 a month. You know what I mean? The service. And so that goes along, that pays for half the bill one month. And it makes a huge difference. Those things that really add up. Joey, thank thank you for your support. Thank you for heading over to patreon.com/GenXGrownUp and opening up both your heart and your wallet. He also sent us a little note, which I'll share with you on the next episode. I got it in our list of things. He was just very grateful. He enjoyed the podcast and the YouTube channel. So thank you, Joey. We appreciate that you did that. That then is going to wrap it up for this. It's been a while. New edition of the Gen X Grown Up podcast. Don't worry, though. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another one. But next week, that's our backtrack, where we pick a single nostalgic topic and dig in deep. And Mo, it's another 40th anniversary. You want to share with the fourth listener what's coming up next week?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it took us this long to do this one in particular, but it's the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future, which if there was a quintessential 80s movie that is on more top 10 lists of 80s movies or movies of all time, it's that movie. So it's Back to the Future, and we got plenty to talk about next episode.
Yep. You're not going to want to miss that one. We can argue this later. It might be one of the perfect movies.
Yes.
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk tomorrow.
That's right.
We'll talk
Tune
later.
in. Be here for that. It's going to be a good one. You do not want to miss that one. Until then, I am John. George, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir.
Mo, I appreciate you.
Always fun, man.
Fourth listener, it's you we all appreciate most of all, though. We can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a member of the Evergreen Podcast family. Learn more at evergreenpodcasts.com.
No more watching shows till sunrise. Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
And so this is gonna be the last season, but still,
Okay.
I'm gonna try to separate the artist from the art. Huh?
Who is that?
Neil Gaiman.
That Neil Gaiman? Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, Gaiman.
Neil
right.
Gaiman, yeah.
Yep.
Mornings can be a beast, but with Kodiak, you can tame your mornings and fuel your wild ones with a real quick breakfast. One that's wildly delicious, wildly nutritious, and wildly easy. No more waking up early to make stuff the kids won't eat. Instead, pop some waffles in the toaster or heat up oatmeal they'll devour on the spot. They won't even realize they're eating protein and whole grains. Keep your wild ones going with protein-packed granola bars, too. Find Kodiak at your local store. We're the ones with the bear on the box.